does this say? Got it? Okay. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm really, really excited. AJ, was so excited to meet AJ. And Jane and I are so happy to be able to host this evening. I'm sorry, AJ, that you weren't able to make it to St. Louis. Hopefully soon you'll be able to make it to St. Louis. But you're getting better and you're getting stronger every day. So that's what's really important. So that's fabulous. So this evening, I am so excited, and I know Jane is too, to be able to hear from AJ and hear about her passion and hear about her vision. And the reason why I got involved is one of my clients that I had been seeing told me about AJ, and I just get very, very excited about helping others, seeing other people on their healing journey, because that's what I do every day in my work life. And what an opportunity to be able to help these young women be able to experience healing and be able to experience such passionate people that care so much about them. And to know that there's, like I always say, it only takes one person out there to be able to care about you and support you. So for years, I worked at Epworth School, which was for emotionally disturbed children. And it just takes that one person to really believe in you. And so I'm just so excited about the opportunity to be able to sit on this board and be able to, with Jane and AJ and all these incredible individuals, to be able to support these wonderful girls that will go through this healing process. So yeah, I'm just so excited, and I just can't wait for us to be able to really start moving forward on this project.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. I just wanted to say that when I met Julie, she was so full of enthusiasm and light and love, her and her daughter both, for these girls, that I was very excited to immediately onboard them onto the team. I could tell enthusiasm like that would bring us a long way. So thank you, Julie. And you're already showing it by holding the party and bringing everybody to hear about it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to introduce Jane, our lead counselor on the Applejacks team. She's going to help you guys just get a little bit of awareness around the need for what Applejacks Ranch is doing. So Jane, take it away.
Thank you to our founder and leader, head goddess, AJ Arias. I want to start with when I met AJ, which was such a blessing in my life. We have a friend in common, and probably a year and a half ago, when AJ was looking for a counselor to be a part of the team to help create and build Applejack's ranches, which is eventually going to be all over the US. And I met AJ and her husband, Brent, and when they walked up, when we were walking toward each other in the parking lot and I saw them, I already felt like I knew them. Do you ever see a person and already feel like you know them? And we sat down and started talking, and I think we talked for a few hours, and I already felt like I knew them, and I already knew that I wanted to support AJ and help out with Applejack's Ranch. So it was a wonderful fluke, kismet-y, karma universe thing to get to meet AJ and her husband Brent, and they've become dear, dear, dear friends of mine who I just absolutely love. And then I got to meet Julie randomly when we met on Zoom. She was on my list of calls to people to check in regarding Applejack's Ranch, and then we got on Zoom and we were talking, and she's like, I'm from St. Louis, and I'm like, I'm from St. Louis. And so anyway, so Julie, we're having, I think, lunch on Sunday, right? We're having lunch on Sunday, yay. And then David Ozerski, who's on the call, is a high school buddy of mine. And we're having a mini high school reunion Saturday night. So I'm getting to see my St. Louis people. Oh my gosh, Bob, I didn't see you came on. Same with Bob. Bob is one of my high school buddies. So we're going to get together on Saturday night. And because I'm in town for my cousin's wedding, I'm coming
is
there.
it night? Is it Saturday night or afternoon or both?
Oh my God, I keep on saying that mistake. Yes, it's Saturday afternoon.
Sunday. It's Sunday. I'm going to be at the wedding. I'm in the wedding.
No, but me,
Wait,
it's
who's in the wedding?
Wedding.
She's in the wedding.
I am.
Cam,
Erica's wedding. I'm in
Kim?
the wedding.
you are in my cousin's wedding.
Yes.
You're in my cousin's wedding?
Yes.
You know Erica and Todd.
Yes.
I'm tripping right now.
Erica's one of my best friends.
Oh my God. Did you know that I was on this call or no?
No, I had no idea until I got on here. I just came because Julie invited me, and Don's
Oh
my
my
first
God.
cousin, and Julie and I are very close.
That's amazing. I'm tripping right now. That is hilarious. Yeah, so Sunday night is the wedding. So Julie and I are having dinner on Sunday afternoon, and our mini high school reunion is Saturday afternoon. And there is a welcome dinner for the out of towners Saturday night. That's why we're having the mini. Anyway, that part you all don't need to know. But well, oh my gosh, what an amazing coincidence. And Don, Julie's husband, oh, everybody close your ears. Jojo, no. Don is a lawyer and my brother Jimmy is a lawyer and they know each
Oh,
other.
no,
I'm not a
Don's not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer.
He knows
Don's
him
not a
from
lawyer. I
Kansas.
made that up.
No.
Don, you're promoted to lawyer. So if anybody needs a lawyer, call Don.
Jimmy.
So now on to the part I'm supposed to be saying. So this project means so much to me. I'm gonna cry. Okay, so when I was 12-year-old girl in St. Louis, and used to follow my older sister to, you guys know the Beaujardin Park off of Schulte Road. Well, I used to go down there and follow my big sister, and there was a gang of bad guys there. And one of the boys there who was 16 raped me when I was 12, and I took a really dark turn. And I was locked in a cage of his shame. And I withdrew into drugs and alcohol and disconnected from my friends and family, and my grades started plummeting. And that art teacher, David, that you just mentioned, David Ozerski, just mentioned this art teacher, Mark Greenberg, that we used to have. And he felt like that one person. Julie, you're talking about one person, if one person. So there were lots of days when I felt like life wasn't worth living. And I would go to art class and Mark Greenberg would say something to me like, no one knew what happened because I wouldn't tell anybody. I was afraid I would get in trouble with my mother. And that's called secondary trauma. When you're carrying a trauma and you won't talk about it, or you tried to tell somebody about it and they tell you that didn't happen, or you're lying, or you brought it on yourself, or why did you go to that park, or why did you wear that short skirt, or why did you drink that drink, or why did you go to his house? All that, that's called victim blaming. And all that is called secondary trauma, and it amplifies the original trauma. And Mark Greenberg didn't know what was going on. Hey, stop it. And if she does that one more time, she's going in the back room. I'll take you guys with me, you'll see. And Mark Greenberg would say, Jane, you worry too much. You don't have to worry. You're only 14, you're only 15, you don't have to worry. And it always made me feel better. Just, he was an adult who would listen to me and be with me. But I really was on a downward spiral. And when I was 30, hit rock bottom. And that is when I found my first counselor of my choice. It was not a counselor I was dragged to by my mother because she couldn't figure out why I was so bad. It was, now I was an adult, and she referred me in right direction. She referred me in right directions, and I had basically an awakening, an epiphany experience. Stop barking, come on. And that actually led to me choosing to become a counselor. Okay, I'm really sorry, you guys. Look at this. Good girl. No, stay. Good, stay. Okay. Now all will be quiet. And I had a lot of amazing people in my life who assisted me on this awakening process, and I wouldn't have made it if not for this handful of people, handful of support people I was lucky enough to find. And when I started doing the work of giving back, that was even more healing. So I had become a counselor. I developed my own healing trauma tool. I even heard this amazing spiritual philosophy that maybe it was like this, and I do kind of like thinking of it this way. Maybe it's like this. Maybe my soul was up in heaven and ready to make another trip back down to earth. And maybe my soul said, hey, everybody, to all the other souls hanging around in heaven, hey, everybody, would somebody meet me down on earth and help me? I need to have a trauma experience so that I can become a good and great counselor and assist other people in their own healing. And would somebody be willing, would one of you please be willing to meet me on earth? I'll pretend like I'm a little girl. You pretend like you're a teenage boy and you're going to rape me. And would somebody do that for me? Anybody? This would mean the world to me. I know it's a big ask because when we get down to earth, you're going to forget. We're both going to forget that we made this deal. But I really need to go through this windy path to be able to become this counselor that I know I could be. But I have to go through this very human traumatic experience. Anybody? And then way in the back, one hand went up and a quiet voice said, I'll do it. I'll do that for you. And I said, you would? You would do that for me? Are you sure you want to do it? Because you'll be hated. If it gets found out, you will be hated. And no one will know about this deal, even you and me. And he said, yes, I'll do that for you. And then we went down to earth, had this traumatic experience. And then I went on this dark and windy road. And then in climbing out of this dark, dark pit with the aid and assistance of a handful of amazing people, I was able to become a therapist who could work with anybody on practically any issue. I've worked with people that were raped, incested, molested. I've worked with people who got lost in drugs and alcohol and anxiety and depression. I've worked with rapists and pedophiles, and I've done a pretty good job these last 28 years. And so I'm grateful to him. His name's Scott Kimball. What's really random is last year, right around this time last year, someone found him randomly and said, hey, is this the guy? And I was like, wow, that's the guy. And I contacted him, I private messaged him, and I said, I'm sure you remember, this is what happened, this is what you did. And I said, I would like to start with just asking you if you would apologize to me. I was going to start there, and then I was going to tell him, not only do I forgive him, but I want him to know that the experience, healing from the experience, brought so much goodness into my life and has helped so many other people. But he didn't respond to my message. And then he died of coronavirus.
Oh, wow.
How crazy is that? So meeting AJ and hearing about her passion about Applejack's ranch, safe houses, for girls that were rescued from sex trafficking. Here's what I know about why this project is so important. What happens to these girls, and there's a smaller percentage, but there's boys too, who are sex trafficked, is they occasionally get rescued, and it's always wonderful when they do. Because there are not very many, there's a teeny tiny percentage of safe houses for these kids to go to heal from these type of wounds specifically. There is a large need, and AJ will probably tell you this over again. There's a big need for safe houses that cater to this population specifically, because sadly, what happens to the majority of these girls and boys is they get rescued from sex trafficking, and usually they were living on the streets or got, caught up and got caught by a sex trafficker because their home environment was not tenable. It wasn't safe. They might have been molested or sexually assaulted at home, or physically, mentally, emotionally abused at home. And it might be a child or a teen living on the streets. So they're prey. They're easy prey for these sex traffickers because they can't live at home. Their parents aren't safe. It's not good for them to go home. And so these kids get rescued from the sex traffickers. And then 9 times out of 10, maybe worse than 9 times out of 10, they go into the foster care system.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, at best, they go into a foster care situation where they don't get the kind of therapy they need. Like Applejack's Ranch is going to have equine therapy and many multiple modalities that work for this type of population, which AJ will tell you more about too. But at worst, they go into a foster home where they're sexually assaulted again. So having Applejack's Ranch house, home safe houses all over the US means a larger majority of these girls rescued will go into a situation in a group home with other girls who've had like experiences. Because I can tell you from personal experience, when you experience a sexual assault as a child, as an adult too, but especially as a child, it's very isolating. And you feel like the only one, and you feel like there's something wrong with you. And you can't come back from that until you meet someone and get someplace safe who knows how to help you heal that. And these girls will live with their peers, and they will also get training on sustainable living. And they will also be like big sister to the little sisters that come into the homes. And the little sisters will have big sisters to look up to who have gotten farther along in their healing, and they'll have hope. If she healed from this, I can heal from this. They'll have safe and trained staffers around them. It's just amazing. It's an amazing project. And when I first learned about it, the more I learned about it, the more I wanted to support and the more I wanted to be a part of it and help create it. And so that's my story. I want us, the people on this call, and I want to help AJ create safe environments for these children to heal from, so that they're healing from the original event of the sexual assaults. And they're also healing from the secondary trauma of not having someplace safe to go and be and heal after the sexual assault. And this is that. This is that. And that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Jane. I appreciate that so much. Jane is an amazing, amazing part of our team. She's one of the top 3 couples counselors in Arizona. So she definitely got to that expert master level of counseling that she was telling us about through her trauma experience. I want to start out by saying, well, my name is AJ Arias. I'm the founder of Applejack's Ranch, and we are a brand new nonprofit. We started in January of 2020. I am getting over COVID. So if this sounds like a COVID brain type of presentation, that would be why. I'm about on day 12 or so still pretty tired, and we'll see if my brain cells can actually rub together, but I'm going to do it. Here we go. So the reason that I started this, there's a really huge reason. It was very hard for the last 30 years or so to even get attention on this subject. People, oh great, now I'm gonna have a dog problem. Just a sec. Someone's coming in and out of the front door, and that's a crime.
The rule is whoever's trying to talk, their dog starts barking.
I know, right? And this little guy thinks he's a Rottweiler and he's only 6 pounds. So, all right. So for the last 30 years, we've really been trying to get attention on the subject. I was unaware of it. I don't know how aware you guys were of it, but it was sort of a secret black market industry, and the people that wanted to help and were starting nonprofits, it was mostly about awareness, because they just wanted people to recognize it was a real problem. Nobody wanted to hear it. It was too ugly. It was too dark and threatening. Finally, the silver lining on Epstein and his whole situation is that it just blew out of proportion. Everybody now knew, and they wanted to help. And then they found that there was a huge gap in services. There was a lot of 180-day and 90-day programs that were made for people who are rescued from prostitution or sex trafficking that would help them out for a little while. And then they would put them back in either domestic abuse shelters for grown women or the foster care system, like Jane was saying, but they didn't get much support after that. However, these women and young children are being raped 10 to 25 times a night for several years in a row, and their average lifespan, if they stay in the sex trafficking industry, is only 7 years. So this is no normal type of abuse. It's trauma over and over again. And to think that somebody can get over that in 90 days and is ready to go back is sort of ludicrous. So really what they need after having their lives stolen from them, their happiness stolen from them, is the kind of support from society to help them find their most fulfilling life again. And they are very resilient young women and children, because they do bounce back. So if they do get the support they need, they will bounce back. They will come out of it, and then they'll start leading other people out. And I've seen this time and again, and it just brings you tears to read about it when you hear somebody who was a victim and then took their own selves on, and over the course of many years got to the place where they're now out of it and leading other people. And the person we have right now, we're hoping to make executive director, Savannah Sanders. She's an author who wrote Sex Trafficking Prevention and spent all of her 20s and early 30s coming out of her trauma from being trafficked herself. She has come up with her own therapy technique and has been 13 years in the industry, is considered an expert. Her book is the book for the professionals to use. She wants to run Applejack's Ranch and make sure these girls get what they actually need, the support they actually need. She's tried every single type of counseling and therapy out there. She knows what works, what doesn't work. She knows when it's time to switch and how to make it customized for each girl going through. So that's the kind of leadership we got stepping forward. So I wanted you to know that we are very confident in where we're going right now with this. So why did I start Applejack's Ranch? Well, there's only 1,350 long-term beds with services for these people in all of the United States. So that's adults and children. So they're sharing services and beds with so many other types of populations that are needing help, and they're just not getting what they need. When I was first learning about this, it was from my father, who's in Border Patrol. He's in the leadership and works at Pentagon for Border Patrol. And he was telling me the reality. He goes to the border a lot. So he was telling me the reality of the sex trafficking. And I couldn't believe how much it would grip my heart. It would just break my heart every time I heard about it. And it was one of those things where I thought, I could throw money at this like you do every other charity, but that wouldn't feel right. To me, it felt like, no, I need to be part of the solution to this. I can't handle that it's happening. I have to be part of the solution to it. So it just sat there, and every single time I heard about it, it really bothered me. Back in 2017, I went to a leadership training where I got to spend 24 hours in the wilderness by myself, contemplating what did I really want to bring to the world. And the reason I was there is because I have 4 children and they were all finally old enough. I had my head above water and had some time on my hands. And because I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 23 years. And I knew I wasn't going to be comfortable sitting home eating bonbons and Netflix binging for the rest of my life. So I was like, I really wanted to go make a difference, do something. So I did this leadership program and I was like, I'm going to go start something. I'm going to go do something and make a difference. And I asked myself, where was I happiest? And it was out in nature, out on ranches, out on campgrounds as a child. Those were the places where I felt healed and whole and like I was growing and expanding and really fulfilling. So I knew about the healing power of nature and I knew I wanted to help others. So I knew I wanted to make a ranch like this. Wasn't sure for who. And then it was January of 2020 when I was reading about 3 different victims who had gone all the way through being victim into champion to hero, leading other people out of sex trafficking. I was reading an article about them and my heart breaking again, feeling like my hands were handcuffed and I couldn't do anything. That's when the lightning bolt hit and I knew my ranch was for these girls. And I was very excited. I jumped up and ran downstairs to my husband's office and I said, honey, guess what? I know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And he's like, wow, that's a statement. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? And so I told him and he said, I can make it better. I said, what do you mean you could make it better? He said, well, make it organic and sustainable. So it takes care of the girls and Mother Nature and her animals. And there's this beautiful love and belonging and integrity throughout the whole place. I said, that is better. I like that. I told him he was divinely inspired there and I stole that. And it took me a couple of days to step into my potential. I was pretty scared. I was like, okay, I'm going to go from finally having all my time to myself, able to do whatever I want, to a very busy lady and with a purpose. And it's going to be from here on out. I'm not going to have any time. So I finally stepped into it and started telling people. The second person I told, my friend Tara, who gentles Mustangs, wild Mustangs, and is a large and small animal vet tech. She said, I can make it even better. So what do you mean? She said, have equine therapy and have each girl have her own horse that she's caring for, because that bond between a horse and a human, there is nothing like it. Nothing like it. So healing. And to have a 2,000-pound animal that could be trampling you, do nothing but love on you. It's the opposite they have ever encountered, opposite of what they've ever encountered in their life. Right. So I thought that would be amazing to install that. And that's how I got my 3 major parts of Applejack's Ranch, mostly from stealing ideas from other people. And after about 2 weeks, I had grown my team to 8 people already. And then by the next September, I had about 25 people and a board of directors. And I had my financial plan and my business plan. This stay-at-home mom, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew somebody else did. So I just kept gathering the people I needed that had the expertise I didn't have. And we made our business plan. We got it all together. And by this January, we had applied for the 501c3. There's 2 different 501c3 applications, a short one for if you don't need much money per year, and a big, long 40-page whopper. If you want to get over $1 million a year, and we're going to need that. We're going to need that to take care of these girls. So a little bit more about it. We want to start the ranch here in central Arizona because they have mild summers and winters. The horses could be there all year long, and we could also do the sustainable farming all year long there. We want to make the ranch self-sustaining in 3 to 5 years so that it's not entirely dependent on fundraising efforts all of the time. I cannot tell you how hard it is to fundraise in this day and age. Like the COVID era, it's just like, wow, even getting anybody to show up on Zoom is like pulling teeth. So it's been a challenge, but we're going to figure that one out. But just knowing that we can have a working ranch and have it self-sustaining in 3 to 5 years, and then maybe we can use that fundraising to make another one, because we like to go big or go home over here. So we would like to see a ranch in every state with 100 survivors at every ranch. We do have a property picked out that we like that is a golf course that's laid and fallow for 10 years. And it used to be an apple orchard. So I thought that was appropriate. It has river rights to a river coming through it and 12,000 square foot of buildings on it already that we can repurpose. So that is for $2.4 million and it's sitting up there in central Arizona. And we would love to be able to use that for the ranch. So that's our idea. That's our big start. That would mean 32 horses and 24 girls.
AJ, can I add something?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
The ranches will become sustainable and then and they will have their own little stores. And eventually each ranch, well, I'm making this part up. I know that our ranch we're talking about in Arizona would have a store where we could then turn around and sell the honey we collect in our beehives and the apples from our orchards and the milk from our cows and the,
Yes.
so they're actually sustainable. The, you could explain it way better than I, but
Oh, you
there's
did
gonna be a
fine.
store. They can
Yeah.
actually make money.
Yes, we're actually going to make the most money from offering equine therapy to the public. That actually makes the most money. We'll have the section with the housing is going to be separate from the section that's publicly available. And the girls will have job opportunities and they'll learn life skills and they'll get educated on site, as well as having that 24-hour staff and the counselors that are all dedicated to customizing therapy to what they need right now and what's working, right? So that's sort of the main idea of the ranch. Where are we now in the process? Well, like I said, we applied for that 501c3. It was so great when I put in the application, they said, do not contact us for 6 months. We are behind. But you can contact us after 6 months. So we contacted them, I think it was August. And they said, oh, how nice that you called. You must be actually interested. Since you're interested, we'll pull your name out of the stack and assign you to someone. And then they assigned us to someone. His name is Alexander Haneo. I have his phone number, which is really, really nice. But he does not return calls. So we are still waiting for that 501c3. And we cannot wait to get that going. In the meantime, we've conjured up our business sponsorship team and all of these different teams so that we're ready to go and hit the ground running when that comes in. And we are able to raise funds. It is not illegal to raise funds without the 501c3. It's just that you actually get a tax deduction for funds you raise prior to all the way back to date of inception, which was last October 29th. So any money we come in, as soon as that 501c3 hits, it's tax deductible retroactively, if that makes sense. So that's sort of where we are right now. It's been feeling like trudging through the mud to get past this part where we get approved. However, when Alexander first contacted us, all he did is ask for a little bit of a change to the dissolution clause in the articles of incorporation. And that to me sounded like a really, really good sign. Like there's really not much he needs changing. So I just have my fingers crossed that by tomorrow, that'll be in the mailbox. So I wanted to open it up and let you guys ask any questions. You might have questions about sex trafficking, about the reality of it. You might have questions about Applejack's Ranch. I want to give you a chance to ask. Hi, Susan. How can I help you?
So I have a couple of questions. Jane, is it Jane? That must be very difficult for you to make a presentation like that. I'm sure you've done it before. And
Not difficult at all.
well, you've gotten through it remarkably well, obviously, and you're a successful survivor.
Thank you.
And I commend you, AJ, on your efforts and your initiative, your goals and your mission. So I have a couple of questions. You said what will bring in the most money is the equine therapy. Besides writing grants, how else are you going to bring in money? Who's going to pay money to Applejacks?
We would like to have business sponsorships, like corporate sponsorships, grants. We'd like to do the classic types of fundraising, just anywhere that we could get money from to do this initial capital fund. We would like to do that. We
So
don't
when
have.
you say the equine therapy will bring in the most money, you mean that's going to be the most attractive for fundraising sources? Is that what you mean?
No, actually that, what I meant by that was once we have the ranch open and established, we will offer equine therapy with our horses to the public.
Who will pay
So
for that
people will
therapy.
come in and pay for that. Yeah,
So there's a pay for services element.
there will be in that. Yes, the ranch will become self-sustaining and start to make its own money so that we can then fundraise for the next ranch, and it's supporting itself. It'll remain a nonprofit because none of that will be profit. It will go right back into the girls and into the
Sure.
programs. Or it will help build the next ranch for the next group of girls or the young men or the teenage mothers. We'd like to have a ranch for each different kind of demographic.
And also, Susan, there's little people like me. I have a small business, a small counseling practice, and I signed up for the monthly payment. It's $89, $83. How much is it?
83. Yeah, we
83.
we have something called a legacy league where you can promise for 5 years to support the ranch at a level of 1,000, 5,000, or 10,000 a year. So she's talking about $83 a month to do.
So that's all fundraising, but there will be fee for services like equine therapy. Do you mind if I ask a couple more questions? Anybody?
Go for it, whatever you want.
Julie, the idea of that little shop that they were talking about reminds me when you were in Israel, was it Susan's store or Sarah's store? Where there were young girls there who were kind of were being helped. They had handicaps and they whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about? You bought that glass platter from them.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about that facility where those children were just disabled and then they were working there at the shop and
they
selling their wares.
the wares, right? Was
Right.
it was Susan's shop or
I think
Sarah's
it
shop?
was, or Susan or Sarah, I don't remember,
Yeah.
but that's the concept that
Yeah.
you're talking
So
about.
the girls
exactly.
made their own crafts and
Mhm.
sold them, which of course has its own positive consequences with that.
Right.
They feel
Right.
it's self-worth and they're bringing in money and all that. That I just want to comment because that's what that, if you're on the board, Julie, that was kind of a model, I think, that she was talking about. The
Mhm.
other question I have, I just read this book called The Third Daughter by Tanya Carner, which is all about this in the 1800s. And it's for the Jewish women to Argentina in Buenos Aires and who were leaving Russia. And it's quite a stellar book. Do you know of it, Shifi? Have you heard of it? She's the one who wrote Jerusalem Maiden. She's a remarkable author, all based on history. So this is the third daughter, and it's all about trafficking. So there is the issue about these girls obviously becoming pregnant. So what happens in your history, your research and your history and your experience? Will any of these girls come with children of their own to Applejacks?
Not this first ranch. This first ranch, we will have girls placed between 12 to 18 that are not teenage mothers and are out of rehabilitation from any kind of drug addiction.
Mhm.
And they've already been deemed stable and safe to others. So it's going to be a certain population that we're looking for with the first ranch. However, I would love to have a ranch open up for those teenage mothers as well. We're just starting somewhere, right? This is where we pick to start to the largest population.
Curious about that other element that
Yes.
obviously goes with that at some level.
Yeah, that would bring a lot more complication. And I really feel like it's complicated enough for our first ranch already. So we're like, yeah, let's start here. Start simple.
Okay. I'm finished with my questions.
Oh,
right now.
sure.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, of course. Anybody else have any questions?
What's your initial fundraising goal to get it open?
1.5 million.
That's 1.5 million to get it open. Okay.
Yes, that would be our smallest version. We would have a smaller property for horses. And initially we would be training foster parents on how to be trauma informed. And they would stay with the foster parents and then we gradually work to having them stay at the home. So that's using the money for the most bang for the buck if we start out with a smaller amount. But of course, if we get the 10 million I want, we'll run it for 5 years and we'll have the big ranch and everything. So
Will you go for grants for that, government grants?
absolutely. One of the problems I found with grants is they want to see you up and running
Yeah,
and doing something. And
Exactly.
that, yeah. And you also, grant writers cost money. And they want to have the money up front. So it's like all of it depends on getting some capital funds from a different location first. And then once we get going and we can show people we're doing something and we're making a positive difference, it'll be easier to get that to start to roll in.
I had one other question. I forgot. Why did you say you need 32 horses for 24 girls?
The 32 horses has to do with the financial and the business plan for making sure that we're making money. So boarding other people's horses, we can, and then also having people come in for the equine therapy. The horses only can work 4 hours a day.
Okay.
So you need to give them a big, long rest to take really good care of them. So it's a rotation. So that's why we did the 32 horses. Yeah.
So my question was about business plan. Is there a business plan in place at this point?
There is a business plan in place, and I'm totally willing to share it with whoever would like me to. You can just stick your email in the chat and say you would like the business plan, and I will send it your way. Yeah. Very proud of that thing. Took a lot of work, and I didn't know what I was doing, but at least my team did. So,
I'd rather stick an ice pick in my ear than write a business plan.
oh yes, I totally understand. I'm not really a paperwork person, so that's
Or
all
a
right.
grant.
They're much easier to read than write.
Yeah, and even that's
And less
funny.
painful than an ice pick in your ear.
That's right.
So what's the time frame that
Or
a
painful.
participant stays at the ranch or go through the therapy session?
It's a long-term commitment. It's a long haul. So if a child was to come in at 12 and need us up through when they are 24, we would allow that. We want them to have an associate's or a bachelor's degree in place, a job in place, and be ready emotionally to go. However, what happens is we're going to be working with the foster care system and with the state and with a lot of other agencies, so adoption agencies as well. And we do agree with everyone that a loving home is the best placement for a child. We want to still be there for those children that do go into loving homes and offer the services, and they can come back to the ranch for the services. So it may be that some of them are adopted out. It may be some of their families are rehabilitated to the point where it's appropriate to go back to their original family of origin, doubling there. Also with the foster care system, sometimes they'll have trauma-informed parents that we can send them to. We're looking to become certified in creating trauma-informed parents, giving them a certification course so that the state is sending them to us so that Savannah and her program can be influencing how the foster parents deal with these kids. Because a lot of times the reason foster care isn't a good placement is they're not trained. They don't know what to do with someone who's been through that. So it's just too much behavioral stuff they don't know how to deal with. So yeah, I've lost the question though, COVID brain. Yes.
Okay.
Did I answer? Good. So, any other questions?
I want to say how much that works, having a horse assigned to a child, because how many of you St. Louisans went to Ranch Royale for camp when you were little?
I didn't, my best friend did.
Camp Ranch Royale. So at Ranch Royale, each camper was assigned one horse, and I'm 62 now. So I'm talking about, I think I went there 3 years in a row. So like 9, 10, 11 years old. I still remember my horse from one year, Butterscotch.
Great name.
I will never forget that. And we were bonded. We were a team, man. So
Just
that
don't
really works.
Don's sister has a horse and she has that passion for horses. So I don't get it. I don't understand it, but I think it's so incredible that people have such a passion for horses like that and feel that connection, that strong connection to it.
It can actually be a Zen experience,
Absolutely.
mucking out a stall.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to say that.
Don's sister feels like that.
Putting out fresh straw. It's an
Equine therapy is
amazing.
very, very, very effective. My father, well, I rode horses. You didn't know that about me, Julie, when I
I
was a
did
kid.
not know that. I learned something new tonight. Yes.
But my father had a stroke and he got involved with equine therapy as well. And it's really remarkable.
Wow.
Remarkable to do that.
Yeah, our equine therapist, Tammy, is very intuitive, just all heart. It's like she's just one with these horses. And she's just amazing to watch. So I'm excited she'll be the one in charge of putting that program together. So
Wow.
I'd love to let you guys meet the whole team. I found the world's most special people. You just put it out there and say, hey, let's create a miracle. And all these special people show up. It's really amazing.
So it sounds like you've got your not-for-profit going underway. You've got your team together. You've got your board together.
Yes.
What do you need from us? What do you need now and what would you like from us? I'm asking because I'm going to have to hop off in a minute. So I just
Of
wanted to.
course. Well, I would love your support in finding other people, networking with other people that would like to support us. I would love your support financially. I would love your support in any way. Like if you can come and volunteer in any capacity, if you want to be part of, if you feel like you have an expertise to lend where you could be part of building a program, one of the programs, we have about 15 different teams. As it turns out, this is a lot more complicated than it looks on the surface. And even that, I feel like on the surface, it looks a little bit complicated. So, but we do have like expertise in we need a nonprofit lawyer. We don't have a nonprofit lawyer or a foster care system lawyer. We just want to make sure we're getting this put together correctly. And all the T's are crossed and I's dots and everything like that. So any area of expertise, real estate, architecture, and agriculture, all of these different areas besides just the therapy, we have a lot going on. So mentorship for the kids. Yeah. So wherever you think you might fit in, any kind of idea you have, we would love to get your guys' phone numbers and just keep you on a list. So you can keep an eye on what are we doing and make sure that you're aware, and you can maybe then plug in when you see something that you like, or spread it around town on the social media. When you see we're having an event, make sure everybody knows about it, tell people about us. Just getting that word out is really important, that we're there and we're trying to build so that we can get support we need.
And AJ has an Applejack's Ranch Facebook page, and
I can put that in the chat.
We can send you the links let me know if you're interested in getting the links by St. Louis people, and probably everybody who's Julie's people, let Julie know, and we announce everything that we're doing on that Facebook page too.
Yeah, I'll put that.
Yeah,
AJ, have you been able to start fundraising? You said you could, have you?
Yes, we have. What we've done is we had a few team members go gung ho and say, in 72 hours, we're going to each raise $1,000. We got about $5,000 from that. It was pretty sweet. So that was amazing to see. And I did get a question in the chat. How are you going to get the girls to the ranch? We're going to be getting them from a lot of different sources. They find these girls everywhere. So sometimes it's at the hospital because they got beaten up, or at a drug rehab center. They check themselves into psychiatric places. They'll go to the police, and the foster care system finds them. Sometimes they're found as runaways on the street. About 1 in 4 runaways ends up getting trafficked at some point. So
there's a filmmaker here in Arizona, Diana Davis, who's done documentaries on sex trafficking, and she's associated with a lot of different teams that go in espionage style, find sex traffickers. They have undercover people and they bust them. So there's that too.
we also have a lady on the team who used to be she was the main social worker for those stings. She's the first social worker they talked to on our team. Did you know
Who's that?
Allison.
Allison?
Yes, the one with all the cats.
Wow. That's very cool. It's amazing.
Yes.
Takes courage.
All right. So awesome. I'll get that business plan to you, Susan. Dr. Susan. Doctor of what?
Brain surgery.
2 thumbs up. Wow. You can probably donate then.
Well, that's another good way to fundraise, AJ, because one of the fastest, easiest ways for us would be big businesses, obviously big organizations, but also if you're in, my brother Jimmy is on my list to talk to while I'm in St. Louis. If you're in a profession where you're well paid, you probably have lots of buddies who are well paid, who probably realize this is a good cause, who would like to donate.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Any other questions or any other comments, feedback, anything you want to say? Good. Awesome, you guys. You have been so amazing to come on and listen to this all the way from St. Louis. I really wanted to come see St. Louis in the fall Jane was so bragging on you guys. But I guess COVID had other plans and now I get to have stronger immunity.
You
There's
do.
always silver lining to everything. So
Have
thank you
natural
guys.
immunity. Did you have a vaccine?
I know I had not had the vaccine, so looks like I'm good for at least 3 months, is what I've heard.
More than that, much more than
Longer
that.
than that, much
Cleveland
longer.
Clinic says lifetime. Israel says years. The studies.
Years.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah, I've been liking those studies coming out of Israel. My husband pays real close attention to local studies. So I get all my news about that from him. So anyways, you guys, if there's nothing else, I'll let you go and have a wonderful evening. Thank you for
Nice to
listening
meet
to
you
our
all.
little presentation.
Thank
Yes,
you.
very nice to meet
Thank you,
you.
Barb. I saw it. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Thank
some of you
very
St.
much
Louis
for
people.
coming.
I will
Absolutely.
see you this weekend.
Okay,
See you
sounds good.
Saturday.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye-bye.